So football has never had more information, more technology, or more tools than it does today. Yet, the biggest challenge remains the same. How do we turn information into better decisions? Our next speaker has worked across clubs, academies, federations, and leadership roles throughout European football, helping organizations combine football expertise, innovation, and long-term development strategies. Please welcome to the stage Knut Schulz. Give one round of applause for him. Thank you. Knut, before you're going to speak, I'm just going to briefly go through your biography so our audience will know with who they are dealing with. So you're the founder and CEO of Brain for Sport, a company focused on talent development, coach education, and cognitive performance in football. You have MBA in football management with a certification in high performance leadership and academy management, and you were very interesting participant in Premier League coaching and leadership development programs.
So thank you very much for all the long introduction, which sounds really big, but actually we are here, and I will touch the baseline of my former speakers. So working here in the Balkan region, I worked as a sports director in Slovenia and Kosovo and in Croatia and Georgia. So for me, the biggest point was how are we developing talents and why are we losing them? So it would be touching a bit the baseline we actually saw. So that would be, keep in mind where you had the talents as an agent and what came out at the end of it. So we will now bridge a little bit what is the Premier League doing and what can we learn from that. So counting that down means something. Maybe it's a transfer value. Hopefully it's a commission maybe. But these are the sentences spoken in one academy in 1 year. So you have a really, really huge number of communication data points which we don't touch at all in the moment. So the communication gap between your player, your talent, spoken to him by a coach in an academy accumulates to these really, really big data points. And what we do in the moment is we look at the player, we look at performance, we look at his sleep, we look at his sprints, we look at his deceleration, we look at his nutrition. So everything is a little bit player transfer centered. And what we don't look at is the coach, and you mainly as agents or as club officials have the problem that the coach is the binding gap to your player and your talent. So I will lead you a little bit through that, keep that in mind, and we will go through the little bit of a journey where we land. If you have a club with coach development, you can only cover about 7% of all the coaching provided in 1 year, because it's one person, he cannot work 24 hours. So over 90% of all the communication is gone forever, doesn't come back. And I don't know if some coaches were here or you as a former player, you don't know what you spoke 3 weeks ago to a player. You just forget it. It's gone. So we are just passing by all these communication and we don't cover it. And we don't measure it and we don't compare it. And that's our point we will touch now. And I think the Premier League got that point. We will move on. What we do as a normal situation, coach gets coach, license C, license B, license A, pro license. Once he's on the pitch, nobody is controlling him anymore. He can do what he wants. And you know, as agent as well, struggling with coaches, the coach is in the situation that he is getting the job and he has to be in several roles. So he is motivator, he is psychologist, he has to be a media agent, he has to deal with the agents of the player. So a lot of roles is touching his role. And to be honest, a lot of coaches are in survive mode. They come into a club, maybe in a difficult situation, maybe not the funding, maybe not on the salaries, late salaries, not a good payment scheme. So the coaches are struggling. And in between is your talent sitting maybe in the under 21s, maybe a 19 years old waiting for his chance. And who's responsible then? So is it the sports director covering everything? Is it the technical director maybe looking at the bigger picture? So mainly it's the coach your talent is dependent on. And if these are younger players, then there are parents, then you have to have the yearly talks. Will my son be still in the team? Will he be passing through? Will he be good enough? Is he a late developer? And everything runs around coach development. So the Premier League is not only by money the leading league, the Premier League is leading in a way of thinking ahead, and the Premier League wants to keep that edge. So they developed plans, EPPP development plans, individual development plans, and now they saw that the coaching has to improve. Just to give you a fun fact, everybody knows, I think, kick and rush here, right? Everybody hands up, kick and rush, you know. Why that came. In the 60s, there was a guy, former Air Force colonel, who was firstly doing statistics in football. So he was counting stuff, goals, corners, whatsoever. And he said, my theory is when we kick the ball as fast as possible upwards, that's the best chance to score a goal. And the former head of the federation in England got to know this guy and said, this is a great idea. And we built all the coach development in England on that idea. So we had a lot of time of kick and rush in England. Later on, unfortunately, it proved that he had a bit of measurement mistakes in his statistics, so the theory was not really the right one. So actually what we see is how much impactful coach development can be and theories about that. What we do in England, we are part of the ECAS and EHOC schemes, which are led by the Premier League for special coaches. So the Premier League doesn't stop at the pro license or A license. You can apply as a club to bring your best coaches to the next level. So in England, you have a further ongoing development in your coaching. And this is really, really competitive. This is really influential. This is polysportif. So England is open. They bring in people from basketball. They bring in people from rugby. They bring in people from other sports to learn as coaches by each other. And as we bridge now, and as I see now being here part in the Balkan region, I never saw that. I never saw coaches interchange things. It was all the straight line. And you know that as well, the region is not easy to work on, so you have strong presidents. They call you at Sunday night, why you didn't have that player in my squad, why didn't you choose this? Then you have a cousin working in some position there in your club and you have to deal with that. So going back a little bit to Andy Barra and to Igor before, the biggest competitive edge I would see in the Balkan region is to improve the coaching. For sure, we need better pitches and we need warm water in the locker room. Yeah, okay. But the main touching point for your talents is the time he's spending with your coaches. So when there's a good coach, your talent will emerge. And when there's a bad coach, your talent will drop. And if we go on to that, we see, as an example, our client West Ham, in a short period of time now, last month, we already generated over 50,000 data points. And these data points never come back. So everybody will be in touch with AI in the next years in one or the other way. And it's not like asking ChatGPT who's the best player in Georgian league. It's about how you use data as an agent, as an organization, as a club to improve your skill set. And one big point in the data is once the data is gone, you cannot regenerate it. It's gone. The word is spoken is gone. So actually, the clubs and the organization who understand that you have to capture these data and stack your organizational work on that, they will improve. They will be far ahead than the other ones. So our findings there, as you can see before, were that we have an area where we have a quite huge amount of percentage where we can work on now. So 43% now of all the communication was organization or non-training chatter. So we have to help the coach now maybe to make a better organization in the training. Maybe he's missing some cones. Maybe the goals were on the other ground. But we are losing pitch time. So your talent is not trained in these moments, mainly. And if we just accelerate that by 10% and we bring that down to tactical or technical development, your talent will get better. And if you as an agent go to a club and say, how do you work? How do you improve your coaching? You have as well a competitive edge because you force the clubs a little bit to think in that direction. Because when you don't do it, you just put the talent there and then it's like we have a talented player, trust us, he's in good hands. How many times did you hear that? He is in good hands. Yeah, we do it. And after 1 year, you have a screwed talent, maybe injured, maybe not trained right, not on his development path, because we don't look at the coaching.
Just a second, I would like to interrupt you, and I would like to ask, and I would like to invite every one of you to join the conversation. We do have, as an agent, a great talent, and he is certainly a great talent, but we have a trend of coachings all the time changing. The clubs actually is changing the coaches, especially here in the Balkan. Then also the coach that came is not the same coach that it was when the transfer is made. He's not given any kind of chances. How do you cope with that?
So the thing what we do, and just showing you briefly, I don't want to sell anything here, just want to take you on a journey. We capture audio data from the training session, we automize it, and we have it automized, analyzed in our AI model in the system. So you as a sports director can look which coach performs how. What kind of communication do I have with you as a coach, with this player? So actually when you go in a talk with the sports director and see how my talent developed, you can actually see what was spoken over a season. And if your talent, you have a striker and he is, let's say, weak on covering the ball, and he was not taught about how to cover the ball, how shall he develop that? So we can align the talent individual development plan to the coaching now. And we do this automated and we do this constantly. So you have a complete overview to one academy. So even though you have a coach which is really good, he has knowledge, but when he goes away, you're losing the knowledge as a club. And we keep that in the database for us so we can still provide and grow as a club. So that is one of the basic edges where technology now is helping the clubs and as well the talents to develop. And when we see that, just a small example, you have a talent of 500,000 estimated value. And after a season, a bad season, it's just 150,000. And you're losing that. You're losing your commission percentage. You're losing the edge to sell them to another club. So, and when we do that 2 times a year, we as a club on the other side are losing the value as well, the commercial value. So we are destroying quite a lot of amount of money. That's something we should look at. If you don't aggregate the data, and hear my words in some years, if you don't aggregate the data now, it will never come back. So once the club cover the data, it stacks up massively and you have a lot of data to work on in the next years. But if you don't do it now, you will lose competitive edge in 1 to 3, 5 years, because some clubs will do it. And I think what could be a little bit a bridge between Balkan region, we cannot compete with big 5 leagues in the money. But the talent is here and the edge is here and the people have quite a good attitude towards football. And there, as well in Europe, there are examples of smaller clubs, Midtjylland, Denmark, Bodo Glimt in Norway, where the people understood how to set up even with smaller amounts of the budget to make a great club, and they are highly competitive because it's a combination of good people, good setup and good data. So that could be something we could learn here. not always to bring the cousin as a coach, not always to pick up the phone when the president is calling and trying to bring his player in your squad, so something like that. What do we take away? Coach communication, most overlooked data point in all the football scenery in the moment. We just don't capture these data points. It will grow massively, and you as an agent, you will see that you get commissions on bringing good coaches to other clubs. So it will not only be players, it will be commission of coaches as well. So have a look at that. We have, actually this is like a no-brainer, better coaches and you have better players, for sure. When you have a great coach, your player is flourishing. And if you don't capture the data, as I said, it will be a competitive edge in the next years. Yeah. Any questions from any side?
Do you have any questions? Please feel free.
It's going to be a quick one, so whether just on a real basic level, how are you capturing all this data? Like the conversations between the coaches and the players, how are they actually captured?
So quite easy. We have them mic'd on, like with the YouTube videos where you see the small mics. They are really durable. This works well. Then this audio file is just drag and dropped on our platform. The platform is automatically processing it, and we individualize every club. So this is like the only thing we can do in the world in the moment, because every club is a bit different. But we can integrate the club values, we can integrate the game model, we can integrate position profiles. So actually when I'm talking to you and you're a goalkeeper, you need another coaching than a striker. So we can adjust our model, we can adjust it to the way a club wants to play. So the game model is always touch. With West Ham we have that they have 5 values. And these values are always tracked in every training session. So we want to live the values and not only have the values on paper. Because everybody says, yeah, we are hardworking. Yeah, maybe not.
Any more questions?
I have a follow-up question if no
Right,
one else
nice.
does. Is that
Can we
right?
get a microphone?
It's good. So happy to explain afterwards as well. I will be here all day. So if you need further information, no problem.
Thank you for your presentation. It was really valuable. This is Fahad from Saudi Arabia. We saw you know, now we are growing on this matter, which is football, especially investing in some player. We saw a lot of private academy. They are now starting competing with the clubs. So what do you think about private academy? They can also compete with the club, or you think it's difficult, they have to be clubs in order to sustain their business?
The club problem is always that the club has a kind of standing, let's say. The club is the club and this club is competing in a league. And if you start developing players and then already competing in leagues in lower age group, you're always losing talent because they are late matured ones. Second half of the year, you mostly lost. So out of my perspective, I think academies which are non-related to clubs in non-European countries have a high possibility to grow talent because they are not so much under pressure. Because out of my perspective, a coach is not a good coach when he always wins, because the table can always have one champion. And what are the others doing? The other 10 or the other 15? Are they doing a bad job? No. So actually, I think you have to take away the competition a little bit from growing talents in the younger age groups. Okay, when they are getting 16, 17, they have to be men sometime, and we cannot always put the hand over the heads. But actually, I think free academies which using technology and have a good funding, they can grow massive talent because they're more free to move. Any more questions? Okay, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Give one round of applause for our speaker. It was Knut Schulz